Very good. We'd like to welcome you tonight to getting rid of trauma and emotional baggage. And right now we are just happy to be here. It's nice and toasty here in St. George, and we're doing well. So
welcome everybody. This is our first week. Just getting the bugs out on this first week, but we're going to get this rolling. We have some really great information. So grateful for every one of you that are joining us here. So our first week is releasing emotional baggage, and we're going to go through a lot of information, so we hope you're taking notes. At the bottom of the screen, you see that it says, I am aligning with, and name. I'm going to go over the instructions of what this is pertaining to, but we are going to start with every week, we're just going to align all of the energy, make us more coherent and connected. So we live our lives in a very busy, scattered way. Every one of us do. We're multitasking. We've been doing that all day trying to prepare for this. So we want to bring everybody back to the table in a very peaceful, coherent way. We're asking that you try not to multitask. It's something that we've conditioned ourselves to do. But we're going to come back to just aligning with self, our higher self, our divine self, our true self. So you're going to hear me ding this side of like that, and then you're going to hear me say, I am aligning with, and then we will quietly say our names. And we ask that at that time, because everybody's muted, you're going to be doing the same thing. This brings us all together on the same page. And you'll notice, so we're going to take a nice deep breath. Just like that. I'm going to ding, and I'm going to do this 3 times. And then as I do, I am aligning, just say it with us, and so that you'll be on the same page with us. We want our energy to be very connected. We want our hearts to be connected, and we want this sacred time to be very special for every one of us. So I will begin. I am aligning with.
you say your own name.
Say your own name. I said Vicki, you say Scott.
Mm-hmm.
I am aligning with. I am aligning with. And doesn't that just feel better? Doesn't it already just feel a little bit easier and more connected? Let's go ahead and get started.
So our intentions are to help you have better resilience in day-to-day activities, and to help you live in an elevated state of being. Painful memories will no longer hold an emotional charge within your body. When we have painful memories, believe it or not, it causes pain. And it stays in our joints, our organs, our systems, our glands, and it causes dis-ease. And so we want to view our world as being supportive, and we want quicker emotional recovery. So that's some of the things we're going to focus on. And focus on the present moment rather than the past. If you were with me for the Ascension Temples, there was a whole temple on living in the now. And so it's so important that we live in the now to create a better future and stay out of our past, especially our past emotional traumas and baggage.
So, as we know, we are in the biggest transformation in our recorded history. And so change is going to have to begin with you and me and all of us. And each one of us needs to be a steward of this world so that we can show up, heal ourselves, and help support the healing of humanity. Because we are experiencing stress and trauma. Whether we admit it or not, or even recognize it or not, all of us have some level of stress and some level of trauma. This last couple of years have been crazy and unprecedented. So it's time to just start the healing process, to wash away what was yesterday and start moving forward. Healing humanity is going to be a global effort. We are a global impact now. All of the things that have happened in the last couple of years have affected the globe. And it's going to, again, to take each one of us to be stewards to help fix that. But healing is not a linear process. We're going to see in the coming weeks We're going to see transformation, and you're going to make changes. We're going to make changes, and we still will have setbacks. We still will have emotional charges. We still will have experiences. But we hope by the end of this that it will be lessened, that the trajectory will not be as intense, and we'll be able to shorten that refractory period so that we can come back into a homeostasis. But it takes awareness, active engagement, and forgiveness that is going to be necessary in order to move forward.
So we need to set our intentions and have interactive work.
Yes, so this is interactive, and we've set the intentions on the previous slide, so we're asking that you also set your intentions. This is time to really communicate with your higher self and get to know your body and feel what's going on and the thoughts that you're having. But we have to look at where we are and have some kind of base point. So notice what emotions or trauma that you would like to release in the next 12 weeks. Identify those so that we have a starting point. And then how would you see yourself in this healed state, in this higher state? Chances are that individual is going to have better energy, better sleep, better relationships, and be in a more Zen-like state more often, so that we can be the creators that we're here to be as members on this planet. And we encourage that you set a goal for yourself. When you set a goal, you keep your eyes in the forward movement rather than worried about the things in the past. Those are already done. So we're just going to lift all of that off of our bodies, off of our energetic field, and moving forward. But we encourage you that you take notes. We're going to give little tidbits and nuggets and wisdom and tools as mentors that we've collected over the years, and we ask that you review them often. We still review our notes all of the time, and in fact, just this morning I was reviewing some notes from a class 2 years ago, and it was very helpful for me because just things that I see from a different perspective. And you're going to see that we have transformation assignments, and we're going to encourage that you do those as well. So I created this a few years ago. This is the weekly accountability. And you received it in an email, hopefully. If you didn't, then please email our office so that we can make sure you get that. But in this weekly accountability, the reason why we included this is a number of reasons, but it helps us have intention. When you set intention and you hold your vision on those intentions, you're reprogramming the energy around you. You can choose an elevated state of being. When we just allow our outside environment to decide how we're going to feel, then we become subject to other people's emotions and other people's stuff. And I don't know that we always want that. It is a visual daily check-in so that we can check in on ourselves. I say often that it's optimal to be the student and the master at the same time. And this is a way that you can do that. You can teach self and have awareness of self by having self-reflection. And when you reflect and do this daily accountability, and this setting a goal, it can be a very minor goal, such as making your bed every day, or making sure that you clean up your desk at the end of the day, or making sure that you wash and fold your laundry rather than letting it set up, and just have consistency. But when you have consistency and small wins, your brain is primed for success, and it gives you an opportunity to do that in a safe way that's all yours. Now, you don't have to send this back to us. This is all for you, and we encourage that you do the work.
Now, we're going to be working with the chakra systems, and each lesson will have to do with an energy center within our body, because we'll be researching and looking at these areas to change them and get rid of the emotional problems that we're having. And we are going to present tools for transformation, and there's a couple of essential oils that work really good for different chakras in the body, wherever emotion is stored, and helps us to remove it, believe it or not, and calm things down.
That's right. So you'll see those 3 icons in every one of these trainings. Our chakras and how the emotions that are related to those, and where energy can get stuck in our body, tools to release all of those, and the tools for transformation to help move in forward movement, and again with essential oils.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the tools for transformation, most people want big things to make big changes, but it really isn't necessary. Simple and doable makes it have the ability to do that. If we have to work very hard, chances are we're not going to do it. So all of the tools for transformation that we're going to offer are going to be simple and doable. They're going to help support priming your brain in a very safe environment, which is this is your own work that you're doing. And we want you to, when you hear about, oh, you have an assignment, notice your body, because it's going to feel like, wow, there's one more thing. And if I've already have overwhelm and I've already have so much on my plate energetically, it's going to be hard to want to engage with more. But it's not about doing more. It's about changing habits that are more aligned for self, that'll be changing habits for the better. And recognize that it takes repetition to build new synaptic connections. That's how our brain works. So we have this level of repetition, we build upon itself. But notice when you have resistance, because when you have resistance, that's something to look at. It's something in your past, some kind of emotion that comes up. Have awareness of that so that we can go deeper and then make some bigger transformations.
Yeah, these emotions, they really do cause energy loss, because if you think about past emotions, they actually start firing up again. And so we want to remove those things out of your body, out of your energetic field, so they don't suck your energy out anymore. Endpoint to thoughts, experiences, and beliefs are very important to pay attention to. And chemicals generated by your organs and glands because of these negative emotions can actually cause negative things to happen in your body. Very similar to re-experiencing that negative emotion all over again. So we want to change the brain, change your glands, help the organs, and have each one carry their own frequency rather than carrying the frequency of a negative emotion. Because that can over time cause damage to the organ or gland or system. Unresolved or overwhelmed stores in the body. In other words, when we have emotions that have not been resolved yet, or we're still overwhelmed by certain things, it's difficult to get rid of them. But when we use these methods, these tactics, we will live our lives much better, and how we feel will be much better because we'll be getting rid of those negative emotions.
That's right. So recognize if any of these traits apply to you. These are a couple of the things that fall in the category of unhealed trauma. A need to fix others, fear of abandonment, codependency, even in an unhealthy relationship, living on a high alert. And that means in that sympathetic stress response where we're very aware of our senses, where we kind of scan our space every time we walk into a new space or when new people come into our energy. We're always on that high alert rate so that we just look out for danger. That's what our brains are doing. Also people pleasing, when we want to make sure everybody else is okay, and it bypasses the way we feel, so that we focus on other people, make sure their needs are met, because energetically we can't take on anymore, so we make sure they're okay, and it's called fawning. We just kind of coat the area rather than taking care of our own self. Unhealthy boundaries, where we let other people impose of our space, or we don't know how to say no, or we just want to make sure everybody is happy, so we just accept what everybody else's needs and demands are. Or a need for external validation. Now, this even shows up like as a post on social media, and then rechecking to see how many people liked that post. That need for validation, or that I did a good job, or see that somebody else recognizes me. And always comes down to low self-value. So if any of these apply to you, then just know that you're in the right place.
Yes. Now, emotional baggage is an important thing. You know, when Vicki and I got together, believe it or not, I brought baggage in from my previous relationship and from all of the hassles and problems I was having, you know, by healing people. And it sounds like a great thing, but truthfully, the government didn't want me healing people. Mm-hmm. And so that was a problem, and it caused me emotional baggage because they did things to me that were very unjust. And so I ended up with a lot of negative emotions towards our government. And so it's important that we realize what these things are, and then we take steps, and we're going to show you the steps. Now, unresolved emotional pain really causes problems throughout our life until it is resolved. And past lives or early childhood can do what we call complex emotional trauma, which means there's several different facets to it, and we have to find the past life or find the place in childhood where we were traumatized. And so we bring that stuff with us from past lives, and until we get that resolved, it's pretty tough to get totally healed over our emotional baggage. We're influenced by all of our past emotional experiences until we clear them. And it limits our potential as human beings, because as we have all these traumas, they take our energy, they take our thoughts, they take our emotions to lower levels. And so it limits our potential for change because we don't have the energy to change. So as we take our energy back by resolving these emotional baggage or problems, we can become better human beings.
Okay, so this is a technique about emotional release. So take notes on this. This is a very simple thing to do on your own when you recognize there's an emotion that needs some release. The first step is to identify the person or event. Now, and this, it would be the root person or event. Even though something keeps happening in maybe your work environment, or your next door neighbor is judging you, or something that just keeps this recurring energy, find the root of where that comes from. And I will tell you, very often it's going to come from somebody in your childhood or school, some of your peers. It could be a teacher, it could be a coach, or another student. But identify where the root is and look at it. And this is an intuitive thing, but I promise that when you have an emotion and you start to tune in, somebody will come into your mind, either a little quick glimpse or a visual of somebody, or just hearing the voice of somebody. You'll be able to do that, I assure you. The next step is to recognize the held emotion. What is the emotion regarding that? Name it, identify it, call it out, so that when you see that emotion coming up in you, you can catch it at the gate. Then we encourage that whatever the circumstance is, to find meaning from the experience. When you have meaning, then you come from a wiser perspective. When you step out of the emotional engagement and observe it as an observer without the emotional charge around it, then you can understand meaning. Now, as an example, many people have issues about their parents. Their parents didn't care enough for them, or the parents forgot to pick them up when they were in school and they had to walk home in the heat, or their parents didn't feed them the meals that they really liked, or didn't have their outfit ready for school. And these things that we hold on about, these issues with parent. And then if you can shift your perception and recognize that, wow, my parents really were busy and they multitasked and they accomplished a lot of things, or wow, I'm a better parent because I know now what not to do. And I can see that my parents had issues within themselves that need work, and maybe that carried on in my lineage and my ancestral energy, and that's something that I have an opportunity to work on. Come from a space of compassion and understanding. Then choose a higher emotional state. What is the emotion that you had, and where do you want to be? When you have this elevated state of emotion, you expand your perception and your energy field, so you have greater understanding and a better perception of the big picture. It's like the 300-foot view. And when you keep your attention in present time, the energy around that is, it dissipates the synaptic connections. They no longer hold that charge, and they will unfire, and it releases from the void or from the quantum field that matter turns back into energy, and then you can reclaim that energy back into present time.
Now, it's interesting. The emotions in the chakra systems are very interesting. I'm going to let Vicki explain all this.
Great. Okay, so We obviously have 12 weeks that we're going to do this, and whether we're looking at the 7 chakra system, the 9 chakra system, the 300 chakra system, we're going to narrow it down to 12. So these are emotions that are related to the energy around the chakra system. So our first chakra we're talking about today, the root chakra, and it is based upon our family of origin. Number 2 in the sacral chakra is going to be around insecurity. The 3rd chakra is agendas, and this applies to self and or others. The 4th chakra, the heart, is going to be around relationships. The 5th chakra is about choices, making choices, because choice is our number 1 power in the human race, the ability to choose. We can choose love, we can choose judgment, we can choose healing, we can choose to hang on. So choice. That's a very important one that we get to on week 5. And number 6 is about the thinking and the ego mind. This is the analytical mind, the busy mind, the one that's always trying to find solutions in that high stress state, the beta brain state. The 7 is going to be the lower spirituality. Now this applies to this 3D world, the spirituality and the work that we do in our 3D paradigm. And then the 8th chakra is our spiritual connection to others. This is the impact that we have on the space of humanity as a collective. And then the 9th chakra is going to be around our ancestral energy, the connection of our lineage and our relationship to our lineage. The 10th chakra is around grounding to truth, connecting to the universal truth. This is a capital T truth. It's not own your truth or be your truth. It's a lot of the language right now. This is law. This is God's law, which is truth. And then 11 is going to be around the universal oneness. We are all one. We are the collective. We are the energy of unconditional love, and we all came from the same source. And then number 12 is going to be the law of completion. Now, the law of completion is something I want to point out. We have a long way to go before we get there, and a lot's going to happen between here and there. But recognize when you have unfinished tasks and unfinished business, and I will say that that is related to perfectionism. But the law of completion is something I'm excited to talk about.
Now, the root chakra is all about survival. You know, when you look at the pyramid and all of the different things in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, survival is very important. Where are you going to get your food? Where are you going to get your water? Where are you going to stay tonight? You know, those kind of things. And physical family, safety and security, ability to provide for yourself and others, fears of abandonment, family bonding, identity, tribal, honor, loyalty, and support are just all involved in this root chakra, your family, your base. And the sacred truth is all is one. But boy, I tell you, when you're in survival mode, you only can think about yourself. And so it's very important that we clear this first.
That's right. Okay, so the root chakra. The emotional deficiency related to this root chakra is going to be low self-value. And I get on my soapbox about low self-value. This has been something I've had to work on my entire life, and it is related to some family history. And recognize your value exists because you exist. That's our baseline, and nothing else is going to determine, not based upon the tasks that you do, and not based upon the acts that you do of service. You have value, and so when we recognize that we have a low self-value, it really impacts our ability to have healthy relationships, our ability to have financial freedom, our ability to create. Another one is going to be fearful, living in this world of fear, and obviously there's a lot of fear going on in the world right now. Procrastination is another one, where we procrastinate, we're fearful of making decisions, and so we just kind of sit in that juice of nothingness. And another one is victim-minded, where we blame other people for the way our life is. We point the finger at other people of why we haven't accomplished the life that we desire. And also a sense of being ungrounded, where we just kind of, and a lot of times we become ungrounded when there's physical pain or trauma because we try to escape the body or try to escape the experience. Now, ways to balance this first chakra, if any of these apply to you, is obviously spending time in nature, walking barefoot on grass, connecting with the trees, let nature hold you, the sacred space. It's a very beautiful resonance. We all feel better when we're out in nature, whether that's on the beach and listening to the waves come in, up in the mountains, going for a hike, hugging a tree. Connect once again and ground yourself back into the body and back into this beautiful Mother Earth. And eat root vegetables, particularly reds, but root vegetables, they hold the frequency of our planet. So eat these root vegetables to help ground yourself. And another one is to declutter personal space. That's going to be in another week. I think it's in a couple weeks. But decluttering personal space helps you get really clear about your environment and removing what is no longer serving you.
Go ahead with the essential oil. She's much smarter about this stuff than I am.
Yeah, well, we all. Anyway, okay, so essential oils. The reason why we're talking about this is going to be really encompassing. So there's a lot here with this. But 3 ways that we can use essential oils are going to be obviously aromatically, topically, or internally. Now, aromatically, that's coming out of my mouth, okay? Simply by removing the cap off the bottle and taking a nice inhale and just feel that aroma. Or my favorite is to put a couple of drops on the palm of my hand, rub my hands together, and then cup over my nose and mouth and take a deep inhale. And we're going to explain more about why this is important. But and just have in a diffuser, a couple of drops in a diffuser, and just make the room smell more pleasant. Topically, obviously through massage, if you're working out a tight muscle or your calf, or just to stimulate, or you can do it on the bottom of your feet as you go to bed or you start your day. Internally, essential oils have been used in cuisine for centuries, and so using it in your cooking, you put it in a capsule, smoothie, drink, any of those are options to do internally. Now, the impact of essential oils, there are some oils that are uplifting and they help lift our mood, elevate our mood. They give us greater energy and more focus and clarity. Other essential oils promote relaxation. It drops us down into a homeostatic state and a very peaceful state, relaxation state. It's very amazing for healing support. In my healing journey, I will say essential oils have been a key player in my emotional and physical well-being. And essential oils will cross the blood-brain barrier, and especially like frankincense, that is important to cross through that blood-brain barrier. But the small molecules can access the part of our brain that is necessary for this healing, and it gives a positive brain response.
Essential oils are very powerful. You'll have somebody walk by and they'll have a scent and it brings a memory or an emotion back to you. And let me tell you, our sense of smell is involved in all of our emotions, believe it or not, and it can make them recur. So essential oils and emotional healing is very important. And they're lipid soluble, so they enter into every cell, every tissue in the body, and they easily pass through all the layers of the body. So that's why I like when Vicki does the couple of drops, because believe it or not, there's chakras in your hands, and there's places for every organ that gets affected when you put it in your hands. And so I found it's very positive, and it provides better cell signaling. In other words, it helps our cells talk with one another better. When we have an emotional blockage, it can actually block our thoughts, block our abilities. And the essential oils help open up our cells to cell signaling. And we have specific cellular targets that each oils affect even better. So we'll be teaching about that.
Yep. So bottom line, scent and emotional health. There are several areas of the brain that we'll discuss that process emotion, memory, and learning. And all of them are involved with our sense of smell.
Go ahead.
Okay. So as far as emotional processing, the 2 parts of the brain that I'll discuss first is going to be the amygdala and the frontal cortex. The amygdala is responsible for emotional regulation. It's our fight or flight. It's our response to our outside world. So it's our emotion regulation. Essential oils that are supportive for the amygdala is going to be cedarwood. This is very grounding. Citrus oils, frankincense, lavender, and vetiver. Now, all of those are very grounding oils, except for the citrus oil is uplifting. But and citrus, it can be lemon, orange, tangerine, grapefruit, all of those citrus oils. But they support the health and well-being of your amygdala. The frontal cortex, which is our response to stimuli. It's all of our five senses, and it's our critical thinking mind. We bypass this area under trauma, by the way. And so it just kind of gets shut off and we go right into action mode. And so the frontal cortex, the oils that are supportive for that one would be cardamom, copaiba, lavender, lemon, and rosemary.
Go ahead.
Okay, the hypothalamus maintains homeostasis, and the hypothalamus is bergamot, cinnamon, again, citrus oils, clove, and lavender. And then the hippocampus, which is responsible for our memory and our learning, and the hippocampus gets hijacked quite often under trauma. So in fact, we remember things that didn't even happen when we have an emotional charge, and that's right there in that beautiful hippocampus. So it's oils that are supportive for that is going to be frankincense, basil, clove, lemon, and peppermint.
And believe it or not, when you have emotional trauma, it can calcify the hippocampus and the hypothalamus and stop the flow of energy and signaling in your nerves. So it's very important to release these negative emotions so it doesn't stop our ability to progress.
Yeah, we want calcium in our bones, not in our hippocampus.
Yeah, fear is something that stops us dead in our tracks. And if you think about it, this last 2 years has been fear, anxiety, and just everything has just stopped everybody's progress in moving forward. And that's why St. Germain wanted us to teach about this emotional trauma.
Okay, so the two oils, we're going to highlight two specific oils each week. The two that we have chosen for this week is going to be lavender and bergamot. Bergamot Earl Grey tea is originally from that. Another way you pronounce is bergamot, but I pronounce it bergamot. Options that you can use is place 2 drops in the palms, rub together and cup over the nose and mouth, like I mentioned before. Inhale, rub on the back of neck and feet, and diffuse. This is really great. I love to actually use those on my lower abdomen, on the back of my neck, and at night when I want to settle in at night. Lavender is adaptogenic. It's good for headaches, insomnia, grief and processing grief, letting go of grief, shock, any kind of nerve pain, tension, and restless energy. Now, many people are aware lavender is really good for a burn, or, there's going to be a lot of physical attributes that they can be supportive, but we're only addressing the emotion in this training. But bergamot is supportive when someone's trying to overcome addictions. When we have low dopamine, it helps encourage dopamine production. When somebody has depression, low self-worth, it's a very uplifting oil. It's good for insomnia, stress, agitation. When somebody gets that agitated, irritated space, it's really good to help balance that and create emotional balance.
Now, an interesting thing, we had a client come in who had a very traumatic experience and just started itching all over her body. And we tested her, and she had undergone an emotional trauma, and she needed lavender to calm her body down to the point where she wasn't just scratching sores on herself. And so we started her on the lavender, and believe it or not, it worked. And she immediately stopped itching, stopped scratching, stopped tearing up her skin, and it was very marvelous. And we carry lavender and bergamot, organic, good, pure essential oils at our office for a very good price. We have purchased them
in bulk,
specifically for this in bulk. So you can call the office at 435-986-0025. Terry's still there, and she will get you these sent to you if you feel like you need them.
Yes, and so on that note, we encourage you do not use fragrance oils, or most oils that are on the market are very, they've been adulterated and they're not ideal, and we don't encourage you using cheap adulterated oils. So if it says fragrance, kind of bypass that one. We want a really healthy oil.
Yep.
So as far as two monks, there is a Zen story that I really appreciate. And this story is where there is a senior monk and a junior monk, and they're on this journey, and they come across to a very rapid running river that has a lot of flow and movement. They notice that there is a beautiful young woman who is also trying to attempt to cross this river. Well, she turns to the two monks and asks, can you please assist me and help me get to the other side of this river? The two monks look at one another, knowing and that they took a vow to never touch a woman. But the senior monk assessed the situation, walked over, picked up the beautiful woman, crossed the river, and set her down gently. When the junior monk came across the river, he was dumbfounded. He was beside himself, actually speechless, because he knew that he broke that vow. And he could not believe that why would somebody that's my mentor make decisions that breaks a vow that we have already done. And so he stews about this, and he carries this story, and he replays it over his head, and ruminates, and his anger and emotions start feeling up within him, and all of a sudden he can't take it anymore. And he turns to the senior monk and he said, why did you pick up that woman? We took that vow, and I can't believe you picked up that woman. Why would you do that? And he gently turns to the junior monk and he said, my brother, I set her down hours ago, and you're still carrying her. Now this applies to our life. When we have external situations that are going to address our emotional state, of course, every one of us, if we exist outside of under a rock, we're going to have emotions that are going to come up. We're going to have experiences to come up. But how long do you want to carry that story? How long do you want to identify with those challenges? And when are you going to be willing to set it down?
So journaling. You know, I was taught to journal way back in my early years in high school, and you know, I literally had my my journal and a calendar, and I would write out what I wanted to do the next day, and I would write down my feelings, write down what was going on in my life, and then I'd write down things that I was going to change. And writing things down affects a whole different part of the brain and helps us shift our brain to make changes. So journaling is extremely important. All you need is a little notebook with paper, and have it hooked together so you don't lose the pages, or you can tear them out if you want, but you identify your running thoughts and emotions and look at them critically and see where they're coming from. You zero in on what you're feeling. It helps you express what's deep in your subconscious. And as you bring the subconscious forward, you write down what's going on. That way you can focus your attention on it and find ways to shift it. And it helps as a creative outlet too, because as you're writing, you'll come up with ideas of what to do, how to help it. And so journaling is so important, and it's a safe place for emotional release. Believe it or not, when you write down an emotion that's been bugging you, that's the moment you start working on it, and you will find ways to release it.
So our first tool for transformation is obviously journaling. Now, our suggestion with journaling, if you are already engaged in that, or you have journals that you used to do, pull those out and continue this work. But a suggestion that we have regarding journaling is first thing in the morning, connect with divine. This focuses our attention on who we are and what we're here to do. And so before you pick up your phone and start going through the different social media, before you turn on the news and watch the weather, before you engage in emails, take just a moment and be centered and ask for a message from your divine self. Ask whether it's in prayer or connecting to yourself or just listening to the body, and write it down. A single message can be very impactful and then give you an opportunity to contemplate throughout the day. Sit with it for a little bit and just allow this contemplation space for yourself. In the evening, you can write down successes very much like a gratitude journal. And writing down success, again, primes the brain that you can be successful. It builds new synaptic connections and it elevates the mood of a space of gratitude. When we have successes, we've elevated our state of being, and it helps with it releasing emotional charge. A very simple thing to do is take another page away from that journal and write I feel and identify the emotion because and write it out. And then you get it out. Then when you're done, tear it up, throw it away, take a deep breath and walk away. It's no longer as inside of you. And an opportunity that you can do is reflect. How can you shift for tomorrow? We are here for a lifetime because we are students and of this life experience. We came to master our emotions. Not all of us do it very well, but we can master our emotions by recognizing how we feel. What did you do well? What do you need to work on? Who was a charge for you emotionally? And recognize that you can do better tomorrow. So you can write that down as well.
And let me tell you, once you address that emotion and you do what's needed to release it, your energy will increase.
That's right. So an opportunity up level that we have, and I've done this a number of times and I think it's fantastic. I'm going to give an example, but create your tomorrow. Remember, when we are in a balanced state, we are creators. That's our beingness, is to create. And so we do it with intention. Today is September 6th. If I have tomorrow, and I have a meeting tomorrow and a lunch date with a friend, and something I need to go over with my kids, a couple of errands that I need to do, and I already know that that's on my agenda, I'm going to write it out in my journal as if it already happened. Walk as if, be as if, live as if, and include all of the details, what you're going to wear, who's going to meet you, what you're going to order. Get as many of the sensory experiences as possible. This is the people who are masters of their creative force. They already choose. Today, September 7th, that would be tomorrow, but we write it as of today. Today, I had a fantastic meeting and it was amazing and I got a promotion. My lunch date with my friend, another person came that I haven't seen in years and it was wonderful to reconnect. My communication with my children was effortless and she understood where I was and we had equal playing field. We just met at the same page and we felt really good. I loved today. It was amazing and I had great energy, great vitality. My body felt great. I ate well. Whatever you want to add, but as much detail as you put in, and if you really put the effort into this in a matter of a couple minutes, you're going to really build on some serious momentum. But remember, the emotion of gratitude is the endpoint to receivership.
So let's review a little bit. We are stewards of our lives. We are in charge of our life. It's not somebody else unless we give away our energy and give away our rights and our sovereignty. And so we need to recognize we are in charge of our own advancement. Having awareness of our self-needs and healing takes courage. Think of courage. Courage is the opposite of fear. So you've got to get rid of the fear so you can have courage. Essential oils are effective healing support on all levels. Sometimes I wake up and I'm just miserable and Vicki says, "Do you need an oil treatment?" And I'm like, "Please, yes." And she does an oil treatment on me and I feel good. I take my power back and I'm able to get out and do my work. And so everything we do is needed to focus on releasing these emotional traumas rather than just holding on to them, because they don't give us anything good. In fact, they suck our energy out like a succubus.
That's right. All right, we are here for Q&A. We're at the end of this presentation. For those of you who have not been with us before, if there's something in the chat, I'm going to have pick this up and I have the messages. Oh, it cut out a little bit. I hope there's some volume. I hope that people were able to see this. But anyway, if you have any questions, so far we don't have any, but if there's any questions that you have, please place it in this chat. I think we will go ahead and do the blessing, and then I'll double check if there's any questions that anybody has.
Okay, I'm going to talk just a little bit while you're thinking about your questions about releasing emotional baggage. Now, I was taught by a very good psychic, and she taught me that the second you recognize a negative emotion, you say, cancel, cancel, cancel. I cancel that, I cancel that, I cancel it. The law of threes, so say it 3 times. And then you replace it with the opposite. Now, it's really interesting. We had a good friend, Carol Truman, who wrote a book called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die, and a second follow-up to that. But in that first book, she has every emotion and what disease it causes and its opposite. And so we have resources we can look at very quickly and get that information. We actually have that book for sale in our office, and we had these little guides that we keep in our bedstand. So if we woke up feeling an emotion that wasn't good, we'd look it up and take care of it right then. But this psychic taught me that by doing this, the universe gives you about 6 to 10 seconds to nullify incorporating that energy from that negative emotion or that negative feeling. And if we cancel it very quickly, then replace it. And if you don't know the opposite, just replace it with love. Love is the highest vibrating energy there is. And by replacing it with love, you can look at what you have done to yourself. Now, emotional baggage gets carried by us. How do we get rid of it? We put it down. We let it go and get rid of it. And we do that by doing these methods. And you will have progress, and you will develop more energy. And because as you let go of negative energy, you actually have more room for positive energy. So just know this is a very good way to release negative emotions, is cancel it and go into the opposite. Because if you do this enough, it resets your brain and makes new neural synaptic connections that are better for you and your body. And it won't put you in fight or flight and fear and all these other crappy things that take your energy and keep you from moving forward. Stay positive with positive thoughts. Keep good, positive people around you, because people can bring us down with their negative emotions. And it's very important that we keep good emotions around. So have little reminders around. Like if you're having a problem with fear, have something written down that you look at every day that says, I have courage. And guess what happens? You start getting courage instead of having that fear. So it's a process of repetition, getting rid of these emotional blockages.
That's fantastic. Yes. There's a few questions now, so thank you for, I apologize for the sound. This is being recorded, and so you will have on the recording, one of the statements is not being able to see us so much because it's on the screen. On the recording, you'll be able to see us in completion with the visual of us. But unfortunately, the way this sets up, it's only available for you to see just the screen. Now, one of the questions was, and by the way, thank you, yes, correct, it is Carol Truman. It's K with Carol with a K, but Feelings Buried Alive is the book that was referenced. So one of the things was, how would this work with my sick cat who has cancer? Now, I'm going to go ahead and answer, and then you can go with that. But in the quantum, when it comes right down to it, we're all energy. And our thoughts and our emotions help build that energy to, when we put our attention on something, it brings it into matter. It brings it into form, into this 3D world. My suggestion, and I have a very, very dear friend who is currently experiencing cancer, very late stage cancer right now too. And her sister just doesn't understand how I could possibly just be present with this without like, oh my goodness, when is she gonna die? And just that gets in our way. And ultimately, it being in this space of just that waiting when somebody's in a terminal stage or in a late stage, it's hard, emotional. Of course I cry, of course I pray, of course I worry, but my focal attention has to be on seeing her whole and healed. And so I hold, and I suggest this regarding the cat, see your cat as whole and healed. Now, healed doesn't mean that they recover from cancer. I'm going to say, I'm not claiming that we are the miracle workers, but a suggestion that I have is put yourself up in your 8th chakra. The 8th chakra is the healer chakra. So raise your attention when you are in a balanced state, and put your attention in the 8th chakra, which is approximately 7 to 14 inches above the top of your head. And see your cat as life, whole, vitality, and being free of it. And when you have an emotion, when you go into fear, recognize that there is a divine that you can access. The more time that you spend with that, and know that there is lessons with that experience. Sure, there's grief when we have a loss. Sure, there's emotions of pain, of the unknown. But the more energy that you hold in love, compassion, healing, seeing your cat healed, and being in that space is going to have the greatest impact. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, whenever there's cancer vibrates in the vibration of wanting to remove yourself. And so sometimes...
And holding on to unreleased
holding
emotions.
on to unreleased emotions too. And so as you're around your cat, just love your cat. Love your dog. Send vibrations of love and see your cat. Visualization is very powerful. Whenever Jesus healed somebody, he would always visualize the perfection in that person and visualize everything shifting to perfection. And he'd always, touch people and ask them, do you want to heal? Do you truly have faith to heal? And depending on their answer, he could heal them or not. Because if they didn't have faith, he would say, you need to work on your faith. And so we need to know that miracles happen every day. I've seen many, many miracles, thousands of miracles. And I know they can happen. And they can happen by us shifting our energy and assisting with others, but we need to shift their energy too and bring them up. So do fun things with your cat. Enjoy your cat, because that enjoyment, that pleasure actually helps not only you to heal, but them to heal. Our animals take on our stuff, and we need to give them better lives by being better ourselves. And so we've got to release our emotions to help our cat's emotions. So
yeah. Okay, another one would be, how would this work? When we have taken in toxins, is there a way to cancel those?
yes. Now, I do this all the time. I teach people that you cancel not only negative emotions, but you can cancel out toxins and bless your food. Bless your water, bless the air that you breathe, that the toxins are uncreated so you don't bring any more into your body. You can say to your body, I uncreate all toxins within my body. I uncreate all toxins within my body. I uncreate all toxins within my body. Sometimes I forget to bless my food, so I have to bless it as it's going down my stomach or as it's been there for a while. And I bless it to remove the toxins. We have the power to create, and we have the power to uncreate. So know you have this power. Like when I'm walking in a hotel that's been sprayed down with chemicals and toxins, I literally bless the carpet that it will not have any toxins in it. And then when I walk on it, I don't feel the toxins. My feet are so sensitive. My feet burn when I'm walking on chemicals in a carpet. And when I uncreate it, my feet don't burn anymore because the toxins are gone. We can uncreate things. You've got to believe in yourself and know that you can do this.
Great. So another one is, if life is extremely busy, how do you choose to what's best to journal? My suggestion regarding that is I would suggest to go into prayer about that, or to balance, just to center yourself first. We all are overstimulated and overwhelmed. Everybody is overwhelmed, and it's, there's a dark force that's really working on that, subliminal messaging, and we're overstimulated by our apps, we're overstimulated by our environment, we're overstimulated by our head. It's just all the headspace. There's a lot of, everybody is to some level. So as far as journaling, I would suggest that in this busy space, if you feel like your life is a little bit overwhelming, I would suggest that you journal an affirmation, and use an affirmation that is just calming and peaceful, such as, my life works in ease, my life is effortless ease, or my life is joy and pleasure, or whatever simple thing, and just write that sentence. Just bring it back in, center yourself with a single sentence, and just feel that. My body is in harmony with all things. I am in complete ease, and my body is in perfect health. Any of those would apply. So whatever you feel inclined, and repeat that every day. Just do that one sentence. Start small, just little bite size, so that you can see your body becoming more aligned to just in a balanced nature. I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, another thing that I would suggest is know that confusion is something that causes us more susceptibility to brainwashing. And they're using a lot of this confusion, even about our gender or whatever. And it's creating instability in our thoughts, because we're going, what? But if it sounds wrong, it probably is wrong. Use your good subconsciousness and know that everything you're hearing isn't necessarily true. And so find truth, ask God to help you know truth. When we ask God, doors are opened. We knock, the doors are opened, we ask, and we're told the truth. And God has not left us alone. We are the ones that move away from God, not vice versa.
And Dan, thank you so much for helping others on the Zoom and how to see us on this. And as far as uncreating for others, absolutely. We can't take anybody's free agency away from them, but regarding, and I think I understand what Helen is referring to on uncreating, set the intention. We are way more powerful when we put our intention in our elevated state. But I will say the caveat for that is we have to be in a like a theta or a low alpha state in order to do that, because if we're when we're dysregulated and we are in that high beta state where we're trying to find solutions, we're not going to find solutions. We're not going to heal others in that high state of intensity or false sense of urgency. So get yourself in that state, align yourself first in a very balanced meditative state, and then put your attention on that.
Yeah, fight or flight is not a good way to get rid of negative emotions and heal your life. We have to bring ourselves out of that and calm ourselves down, get into the parasympathetic state. The best way to do that is meditation, toning, listening to high vibrating music, and laughter, believe it or not, is very powerful to bring you into a parasympathetic state.
Yeah, all right, let's hit the blessing.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and give everybody a blessing. In the name of the Almighty, I am that I am, the creator of the universe, the multiverse, and all that is, and by virtue of the great divine director, the Holy Spirit of God, who commanded me to give blessings to all the humans upon planet Earth and off planet Earth, we give you a blessing for your behalf. We bless you that you will recognize your negative emotions and use journaling to help you put them down and see exactly the energies that cause these things, and be forgiving to those who caused it. Forgive them and be sorrowful for causing troubles, and send love to them. Send love to yourself, and be grateful that you're able to recognize these emotions and let them go. We bless you that you will be filled with the Spirit of God, that the Spirit of God will guide you to your emotions and your traumas and help you to release them. We bless you that you will not be afraid to journal, to look at your life and see what is actually happening. We bless you that you'll stay in a state of happiness and bliss, that you will be able to stay in those higher emotions so that you can release the negativity that we've undergone and that we've had to suffer through. We bless you that your suffering will end, that God's energy will enter into you and assist you during this 12 weeks, and assist you to change all that you are into a happier, more joyful, peaceful, loving state where you can accomplish whatever you create and desire to create. We bless you that you will have support from all those around you, that we will support you, that everything in your life will shift for the better. And as you do this, we bless you that you will remember to thank God and thank all those around you, because gratitude will bring more of the same to you. We bless you with these things and seal this blessing upon you. In the name of the Almighty, I am that I am, the creator of the multiverse, and all the ascended beings of light and love, the angels, the archangels, the beings of the elements, the seven Elohim and their twin flames, that they will be with you, protect you, and keep you safe, and help you remove the negative emotions. So be it. So it is. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you again next week.
Yeah, so next week we have releasing negative emotions. Thank you so much for joining us. Please know that it means so much to see each one of you here, and we're on this journey together. So much love and many blessings to all of you. We'll see you next week.